Hello there guys and welcome to a Crash Bash Productions video, and today we're actually doing something a little bit different from my previous videos, which is why it's taken a little bit longer, and the fact that my capture card actually bugged out for a little while, so I couldn't actually capture any gameplay for you guys, even though I did multiple commentaries beforehand. But I think, you know what, they're kind of shit. So we're going to try something different. We're going to try something that I haven't done in a while, and it is Dark Souls. So for all those that don't know, Dark Souls is meant to be quite a difficult game that many people usually rage quit from, which I did multiple times on my first playthrough, but I'm going to show you guys how to play Dark Souls and pretty much just how to play the game. And I hope you do learn some tips and tricks from this, which will help you out in your playthrough if you ever decide to play Dark Souls. So let's get into this. So we're going to start, and we're not going to load up my game, but as you can see I've got a fair few. I do have a fair few characters right there, but we are going to do a new game right here. So we're going to name our character right here. What should we name them? We'll name them, let's see, we're going to name it Jaffa, and then Jaffa something, so it's always Jaffa, in case you didn't know, because I do love those Jaffa cakes. We're going to name it Jaffa, Jaffa Soul, because why not? It's Dark Souls, so we're now going to name it Jaffa Soul. So we're going to be playing as a female, because I do like playing as a female in most games, and we're going to do a strength build. So what we're going to do is actually use a warrior, because warriors have good strength, good dex, and everything else, and we don't really need that much faith or intelligence, so on and so forth. Now for gifts, always go for the Master Key, because the Master Key will help you get into many areas that will help you out throughout the game. If you want to get a certain drop from the first boss, which I'll show you in a minute, go for the Black Fire Bonds. The rest isn't too useful. The Old Witch Ring is for more lore-based things. Pendant, that is completely useless. Binoculars, you can get them like right from the start, which I'll show you as well, and the rest is kind of just meh. It's just not useful. We're gonna go for Slim, because I do like them lovely and slim. We're gonna go for that, and you'll see why in a second. I always go for Ponytail A, don't know why, just like it. And we're gonna go for, because it's strengths, we're gonna go for a nice red. I do like the red. And then if we go in here and we change this all the way up to different, and if you do create similar face, you can then turn them into a semi-freak, which in Dark Souls I think it's necessary. You definitely need that. I think that looks fairly nice. I like that. It's Fiona. We're now playing as Fiona apparently. So let's start off the game. Okay guys, and as you can see we are now in control of our character. How lovely she looks, absolutely beautiful. And in case you can't tell, there's the little place where that guy was that you saw in the cutscene, which was lovely. And we're going to pick up the corpse and we are going to open the door. So as you might want to be able to do is to read all these messages and see how you can play the game and all the controls, because they're all in those messages, so it is very important that you read them. And I'm just going to dash through the tutorial kind of area of this game because, well, I've played it so much. Now, a great tip for you guys is to lock on a lot, because believe it or not, lock on can save your life, but it also can kill you, so do be wary when you lock on. But generally, lock on can be used for strafing around the back of them and just absolutely destroying them with the backstab. And that's one thing about this game, is that their tracking on the enemies is not too great. So we're going to come up to this door, we're going to open it, and as you can see up there, up top, you can see the boss, which is the Asylum Demon. We're going to ignore him. If you want to get a weapon from him, that's where you would use the black fire bombs that you can get as a gift. And those black fire bombs will be able to kill the Asylum Demon in a few hits, and then you can just easy peasy get the weapon. However, the weapon is not too great. You need about 46 strength to be able to actually wield it. That's one-handed, by the way, so a fair bit of strength that you would need for that. And this is going to be a strength character, by the way, guys. So as you could see there, I just backstabbed that guy. I am holding my weapon two-handed as well, because there's no need to do one-handed at the moment. And now if you go down here, which I highly recommend, you can open this door, which will lead you back to this bonfire, and it will just mean that it will save you a bit of time running back and forth from the other bonfire that was over there. You cannot open that door again yet. So now we've got to go upstairs. However, there is a boulder, so if you run back and keep to that side, you can run back in here, and look, it's the chap that saved your life. And we're just going to have a little chat with him. Always say yes. And there's our healing items, along with the key. And now he's got to die. So essentially that's pretty much the mission of the undead. This is where the key that you need. Also parrying, I definitely advise trying to learn it. Different enemies have different animations that are used for parrying. Well, not used, I'm trying to screw up my wording here, but yeah, in other words, there's different animations that they do for attacks, and there's better ones to parry. For example, that one, not a great one. And like I was saying about the whole strafing around people, as you lock on, you just lock on, strafe around, you can just attack them normally, or you can strafe around and get the backstab. Didn't do it there. But that's a method that you can use on pretty much any and every enemy, especially harder ones as time goes on, and I'll show you that later on as well. Also, I want you guys to tell me whether you want me to speak to every NPC and, you know, listen to all their dialogue, or whether you just want me to skip through it and, you know, waste as little time as possible and just tell you the tips and tricks. So as you saw there, you didn't actually have to engage that guy. I just like to engage him for a couple extra souls. But this is where you need to go. Okay, so through here is the boss, which you avoided last time, and now you're going to fight him. A little tip here is to jump off by using the attack, which is the jumping attack. So if you press the right trigger and forward at the same time, you do a jumping attack right here. Oh, I screwed it up again. Right there, you do a jumping attack. Now, if you time that just right, which I'll show you now, you can actually get extra damage on this guy without actually having to do that much. And if you keep hitting the right bumper, you'll also do the plunging attack. So as you saw, I did 2 sets of damage, which did a lot more than you would usually. So you can get a good few hits in, try and avoid, stay around the back of this guy. Also keep locked on and keep to his cheek, his bum cheek, and you'll be fine. And there we go, easy peasy Asylum Demon. And as you saw, I never got hit by him because generally he's pretty fat, can't hit you that well, and it's quite simple. So there's that doorway that we ran through as well, and behind us that door has now opened so that you can go back there if you so please. But there's not really that much point, just so that you know. And over to your right over here, there's a little nest that you can use to deposit items, and you quit out the game, log back in, and then it will give you some other items. Now, not all items will work, but the ones that do, they're very useful, very handy. You can do it, I think, once per playthrough, and I'd highly advise looking up on a wiki to see which items you could do to trade for and whatever. And here we are in the main hub of the entire game, Firelink Shrine. What you need to do is, what you need to do is sit down and level up, which is very, very important in this game. So, what I'd advise is, if you're going for a strength build, a couple strength is always good. I'm going to go up to 16 in this one, and we're going to go over here. So, first of all, this area is full of loot. For example, this corpse has 3 humanity. Humanity is very important. It's a basic mechanic of the game where you can turn yourself human and interact with other players in the game via transcending your humanity. So as you saw back there was some firebombs there. You can also talk to this guy for a copper coin. I'm not going to do it because time. I'd like to spend my time more on more worthy things. So if you go up these stairs again, you can get this Soul of a Lost Undead, which will give you a couple hundred souls, depending on what ones they are. The bigger they are, the better, as always. And then if you go down here, there's a whole load of chests, and they're full of absolutely lovely loot. So Homeward Bones to get back to the bonfires. A Morningstar and Talisman. The Morningstar is good, but for this run I'd prefer to use my sword. Some cracked red eye orbs to invade other players in different worlds, but you do need to be human to be able to use them. And some Lloyd's Talismans to stop people healing. Now down here are some skeletons, so what I'm going to do is do this and run away, because those skeletons will absolutely destroy you, and you do not want that. So what I may do is actually take off some armor, because as you can see my roll is a bit slow for my liking. I like to be a bit quicker on my rolls. So once you rest at the bonfire, all the enemies will be reset, and then you can carry on. And that is still too heavy, and that's much better. As you can see, it's a lot quicker roll. However, we will be a lot more vulnerable now. So it's a trade-off, but I think it's worth it. So now I'm going back here to collect the loot here that you can get. So some souls, very useful, very handy. I'm also going to collect this loot over here. I may die, but at this stage I've only got 133 souls. It's not going to be much of a bad thing if I do. If I die, I die. You know, it's worth getting this loot, especially for this thing right here, because we're going to be using it throughout the playthrough, which is as the Zweihander. It is a heavy weapon, very much a... Ooh, okay. Sorry, I got a bit quiet there because I'm trying to survive, and we almost died, which wouldn't have been good. Oh my goodness, where the hell did that guy come from? Ignore me, Skelly, please. Thank you. So yeah, what you can do, you can just run around here, hope that the skeletons don't catch up. That's why I like to be quick, because the quicker you are, the less likely it is that they're not going to catch up. Do a little roll jump here, and rest at the bonfire, and you're sorted. So now you've got a whole load of weapons that you can now have a look at. So we picked up the Morningstar, the Winged Spear, and the Zweihander, all from that run, which didn't take us 2 seconds. And it was very useful, and we can actually equip the Zweihander straight off the bat here, as long as it's two-handed, because I put my strength up to 16, which is the minimal that you can have. So it's going to be quite useful for the first boss that we're going to fight. And what I'm going to do is also go down here. If you're very new to this game, I wouldn't go down here, because going down here is quite a death sentence if you don't know what you're doing. However, if you've played through once, maybe twice, I definitely recommend it. If you're new and you want to try something risky to get a good payoff, as I'd say, definitely try it, because it is very handy. And oh, I'm actually extremely heavy, which I don't need to be right now. That's the only trade-off as well, is if you do equip that, you will be very heavy. I'm also playing online at the moment, so people may be able to invade me if I am human. We're going to grab that just because we can. Don't need it yet though. And if you're playing this game normally, I would never go down here, not as a starting point. It's very, very dangerous down here. You cannot hit these ghosts, because funny enough, they are ghosts. But they can hit you, so you do need to be careful of that. So if you follow this route that I'm taking exactly, it will lead you to this bit of treasure right here. And I clicked the wrong thing. That's no biggie. I only lose 300 souls even though I clicked the wrong thing. But what you should do is use the homeward bone. But because I forgot what I was doing, I didn't use it. I used the wrong thing. But that's no biggie. You know, it's only 300 souls. You can get that back very easily, very quickly. And I definitely recommend that you grab that thing that I just picked up, which was a Firekeeper's soul. And the reason why you should pick that up is because it's going to help you out throughout the entire game. Because what you can do is reinforce your Estus Flask, which will ultimately help you out in the long run. Because you will get more health per flask. Which means you're more likely to not use up as many flasks, and you'll be a lot better off. So as you can see, Estus Flask reinforced, because we used that little soul. And what I'm going to do is get rid of this, because we don't need it. We don't need it. Now I could talk to that guy and you would hear more dialogue, but I'm not feeling up to it right now. So what I'm going to do is equip this weapon. I don't really need it. It would be better if I kept the other one, but I just want to show you what it's like when you use it. It's very nice to use. Very slow, so you do have to be careful. But what you can do is, even though you can't actually do damage... Oh, okay, that hit me. Even though you can't do damage while you are one-handed, what you can do is parry and then put it into 2 hands, and you can then do an efficient parry, which is quite cool, if I dare say so myself. So as you can see, I tend to play, I lock on, go around the back, try not to get hit by a firebomb, because that's dangerous. Dodge the firebomb, kill him, and then there's another guy that comes down every time you kill him, so do be careful of him. He may drop down on your head and then you may be a little bit stunned. So as you can see here, you've got an item just here, and I'm actually going to quickly switch my weapon back to the longsword, because that is much more useful than the other sword at this current time, because I can fast roll. So if you do a running jump right here, you can also get right over here this bit of loot. And what this ring does, which I wouldn't equip right now because to be honest it's not really worth it, when you die you do not lose any souls or any kind of things when you die, and it's very useful, very handy to have if you are going through a difficult part, like you got to a boss, you're semi low health but you've got loads of souls and you're like, oh, I really don't want to lose these souls. So what you do, you equip that ring, and if you die you'll keep your souls and everything and your humanity for no cost at all. But the ring will break, you cannot reuse that ring. So a little bit of a trade-off there, but it's a balanced ring. It's very handy, very useful if you ever get into a fight which you know that you can't win or whatever. So with these guys, ideally you need to draw one out at a time, but if you can get a backstab or a parry, you are invulnerable to any attacks during that time, which is why I tend to parry a lot of enemies and I tend to backstab a lot of enemies, because you also get extra souls if you do a lot of damage in those. If you do, I think it's 100 and something % damage, you get extra souls, so it's very much worth it. And as you can see there, I'm now low on health, but if I use the Nestus Flask, full health completely. So it's very much worth it, very useful. So more items to loot. I can't exactly tell you where every single item is. And then the big old dragon. You can actually roll through that animation right there, but I'm pretty bad at it. So what I'm going to do is run past all these guys and go straight for the archer. And the reason why is because if you try and fight those guys as you've got an archer beating down on you, it becomes very difficult very quick, and it's not what you need. So then you just fight these guys as they come up the steps, and it's easy, very easy indeed. Very simple, and it's a lot easier to do it that way rather than trying to fight them as you're being shot. Or what you can do as well is bait them down the back of these steps where the archer cannot shoot you, which is a good tactic as well. Now these guys, they're very difficult to handle. What you can do, you can wait for them to strafe around, and you can try and parry them if you can parry. I definitely advise it. It's very useful, very handy thing to know. Or you can do the kick animation, which is where you press right bumper or whatever your attack, light attack is, and push forward at the same time. Kind of like the same as a jump attack, apart from you're hitting the bumper rather than the trigger. So as you saw there, there's some boxes that are hiding a secret walkway to a merchant. Now he's very useful, you can buy a lot of goods things from him, however I do not have that many souls, so I'm not gonna do it right now. And with this door here, you cannot open it unless you have the master key, so definitely recommend you get that master key. It's very handy, and you can pick up a nice wooden shield if you haven't got one that's that great. And as you can see here, here's all the stats. Physical damage reduction is 93, but the one I got is 100, and no enemies will be doing anything apart from physical at the moment, apart from firebombs. And here's the first bonfire in the area. So I'm going to cut it out here, guys. Hope you enjoyed. It is going to be quite a long one, this one. If you want them shorter or longer, or you want me to skip any cutscenes or anything along those lines, definitely tell me, guys, because I would love to hear your feedback on how I can do better with playthroughs. and if you enjoy them. So, hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. See you later, guys.